Should we get this thing to away then? Shall we? You reckon? Is that a yes? It looks like a yes. Okay. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Arr. Greetings, 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 and hello, hello, hello. Welcome. Good to have you here, if you're actually here. Well, we had someone stand up. That's better than usual. Greeting, salutation. First things first, apologies, I didn't stream last week. Getting to whom I smash. Oh, I smash you, Tommy. Whoa. Yeah, I had a stinking headache last week. That's why I didn't stream. Basically, I'd rather not just sit here going, ow, my head hurts, ow, my head hurts, ow, my head hurts for 2 hours. So instead, I just sat and chilled in. Oh no, what's the matter, Sammy boy? You've been a broke boy. Have you injured yourself? Have you had a Sharpe moment? Is that what's happened? Or has something gone wrong, an unexpected bill? Yeah, fair enough. No, the only real difference is I normally don't have a headache. Although this week I've taken tablets. Because I'm starting to get a headache. I know exactly why. Had a headache too. It's been the wife the last 2 days. She ripped out entire kitchen counters. Redoing all it. Oh dear. Just moved into your own place and can't. Well, congratulations on moving into your own place. You will get it worked out. Trust me, everyone does. You might be eating ramen noodles for a while. She saw a bug, so we had to tear it all out. Yes. I'm familiar with that concept. Yeah. See one bug, and yes. It's an excuse as well. Stuck up on ramen noodles and tuna. Yeah, exactly. You be reet, as we say around here. Yeah, I remember when I first got my place, and yeah, money was very tight. To the point where sometimes I would pay a bill by sending a check through the post just because I knew it'd take a few more days and I would get paid before they tried to cash the check. Am I lucky? Or was it good fiscal planning on my part? Blind luck, most likely. Yeah, I got my mortgage paid off very early, so don't have to worry about that anymore. Yeah, you got to do what you got to do to make the money go a bit further. Don't eat like you see plus get fixed. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Howdy, Gold Prospect in Scotland. How you doing? Hope you're well. I'm vaguely human. Yeah, you have to work, especially these days where more and more people are living paycheck to paycheck, as it were. Why do I always sound? Why do I always sound American? Maybe it's because I'm talking to Americans, mostly. So yeah, you got to do what you got to do to make ends meet. That's just the way of things. It's not like it was back in the 80s or the 90s. Right? A minimum wage job was enough to buy a house and live on. I wouldn't say comfortably, but buy a house and live on. It's the way of the world, unfortunately. Cost of everything has gone up, but the amount we get paid hasn't gone up the same amount. Because shareholders, but we'll stay away from that. If there's anyone I hate more than politicians, it's shareholders. Slightly below that is PDF files, which is apparently what we got to say now. And Catholic priests. Then the French. Can't forget the French. Got to hate French. I'm English is my patriotic duty. So again, I'm going to try and go through what I've been up to the last couple of weeks now, and yeah, not a lot. Same old stuff as usual. Did get one nice surprise though, because I thought Fred, the forgotten what he is now, Super Red Bristlenose, had caved his new squeeze in a world where PDFs rule every kingdom. That sounds very 40k, that does. Yeah, run by the Emperor's children. If you don't get that joke, don't worry. Yeah, so he caved up his latest squeeze, Rose. Yes, I'm aware, Fred and Rose, if you know, you know. But she's still only very young, and I did see a few eggs, but then I didn't see any eggs, and then I just left it be because I figured first time for her anyway. And there's a couple of yo-yo loaches in the tank, so I thought maybe they might have got the eggs. Then a couple of days ago, I did see a teeny little baby Super Red Bristlenose scooting about, so we do have some. Yay! Super Red production has resumed, as it were. It literally took him a day to get the cave all cleaned out and ready. These are, in most bristlenose cases, they're bristles. In his case, they're horns. There's only a couple, Tommy. And you know what I'm like with pleco numbers. Where some people panic about their plecos have spawned and they've got 6 or 7 baby bristlenoses. Oh no, what do I do? Yeah, it's me. It's bristlonoses. I'm still quite low at the moment. Tommy, I've got about 1,000 at the moment, I think. Yeah, I have been upsetting quite a lot of people on Reddit, on the fishy forums, or fishy subreddits, I should say. Because again, they're all these are the parameters. This is what you have to do. You cannot do this. And I'm going, I stock bristlenoses by foot per gallon. No, you can't do that though. And then you go, here, have a picture. Here, have several pictures. And here is the store that I sell them to. Why do you think my Reddit username is Princoplex? Permanently banned off Reddit because I have an IP ban. Quite possibly. Have you been being a naughty boy? Have you been perving at the cam girls again, have you? Yes, there is a lot of that on Reddit. Pretty much anything you type in a search bar, it will find a subreddit. Some should rather. How shocking that there are that many ladies doing it, to be honest. Eventually, meaning a couple of days. Yeah. I do enjoy Reddit more than most other social media forms I've tried, because it is non-social, because it is private, as it were. You're anonymous, unless of course you start posting links to your own YouTube videos and pictures of your fish tanks, and then when you're kind of sort of well known in the fishy community, people might recognize them. Thankfully no one has yet. No one's like posted under one of my pictures, Sharpe? Busted. I was like the other week we were having a conversation about biomedia and filter media. Yes, I upset quite a lot of people with that one on Reddit as well. Has to be done. Oh, you need this much? No, you don't. Yes, you do. No, you don't. No, you don't. Prove it. Here. What is this? What are the numbers? Doesn't matter. The fish are healthy. They're growing. They're happy. Right. If I leave them in there too long, they do breedies in there. They're okay. Don't worry about it. But yeah. I mean, my first account got banned on Reddit for a comment I made about an Australian spider. Basically, I called it a murder spider or something similar. But, well, it's Australian, it's going to kill you. That kind of thing. And somehow I got banned. I guess some subreddits don't have a sense of humour. Like the fish ones, then bicycling ones. And the paranormal ones. You keep telling me I have no idea what I'm talking about there either. But there we go. Okay, what background are you discussing the paranormal from? I've watched all of Zach Bagan's shows, and I watched this one and this one and this one. But have you ever actually experienced anything yourself? No? Well, I have. Hello, Debs. How are you, me darling? Oh. Oh. Big hug with a bit of a squeeze and a mwah. Because it's been a couple of weeks. And I've got a hair sticking out the end of my cigarette. That's never a good thing. So, nothing really interesting overly happened. Chopped more brambles. I'm nearly there. I'm getting to the point now where I'm starting to worry that if I chop any more of the brambles, the fence will fall down. So I'm going to have to get that done this week. Well, the brambles cleared. Then get some guys in to quote for fixing or replacing the fence. Because in the UK we have fairly strict rules about the fences that go around your property. The back garden, they have to be 6 foot tall and you can't see through them if there are other houses either side or behind you. basically to stop people perving or invading other people's privacy. But I'll be honest, I don't live next door to anyone that I want to see sunbathing. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't want to see me sunbathing either, so I don't think anyone's going to get too upset. Yeah, just nosy old bint from a few doors down who wanted me to chop one of my shrubs down because she couldn't see into the garden, my neighbour's garden that side, from her bedroom window. Really? Last week, Debs, I had a major skull ache. That's the problem, and I've not been sleeping too well either, so that's not helped. Plus, I just keep forgetting to upload videos. So I go, right, I'll upload a video today, I'm off work, and then I completely forget about it. So I promise I'll definitely upload at least one video this week, because I am off work this week. And I'm kind of toying with the idea that if I get the willpower and can be bothered to tidy up a bit in the spare room or the man cave, I might do a stream direct from the modelling bench. We'll see how that goes if I get round to it. But, yeah, I think the solar storm that we had last week, back into last week, it completely messed with my sleep for some reason. I mean, it was very pretty. You know, we did have lots of aurora or aurorae, the borealis flavour, visible down here in Norfolk. Lots of pretty lights in the sky. I think some of the people from North Norfolk started worshipping them. There's definitely the people from Lincolnshire did. We used to weird lights in the sky in Norfolk. There's that many air bases. Oh, thank you, Debs. I will. I've got several chores and jobby type things to do, but I aim to take at least 2 days as pure flump days where I do absolutely nothing. Where like the furthest I go is I walk Pippa in the morning, and then I have a nap, and then that's about it for the day. Maybe another nap and a third. Now, triple nap days tend to be not a good idea. You don't sleep at night then. Double nap days work well. One in the morning, then one in the early afternoon. That sets you up, and then in the evening you can get on and do stuff. Although it's almost dark now. Well, it is dark now outside. Yeah, pretty much. And yeah, I think we're, as Gold Prospecting Scotland was saying, I think we're due a storm as well the next day or two. The one that hit Florida is done the loop around the Atlantic and is coming through the UK now, from the north to the south. So hopefully by the time it gets here, it will have mostly blown itself out. What else have I got to talk about? Ah, yes, AI. I had a thought, because I've got a work colleague who is struggling at the moment with, well, depression and that kind of stuff that I'm used to. So I'm kind of a good person to talk to about these things if you're struggling with them. And I was thinking, well, he's not got anyone really to talk to. that you can just open up to anyway. So I was thinking, well, maybe, you know, you see all these adverts, well, you might not, I do, for the sort of AI bots, you know, the AI girlfriends and what have you. So I thought, let's have a look at some of them. Let's have a look, see what they're about. Because I had a thought, and my thought proved to be true. It's not just about getting some hentai waifu and ploughing the field, as it were. There are characters, I guess you'd call them, AIs, bots, programs, whatever they are, that aren't there for that you can just have a friend and talk to. Oh, well, let's give that a go. Have a bit of a chat. It's basically like texting with someone, you know, someone who's not got a great memory. So I sort of suggested that to him, that it might actually help, might be a good idea. You can offload to that whatever you want to get off your chest and say, and nothing's going to happen. Nothing bad is going to come of it. No one's going to think any less of you, or you don't have to break down and cry in front of people, that kind of thing. And it's free. So I suggested that to him, and I think he's going to have a look. So an actual positive use for AI as a counsellor. Oh, baby albino cories are growing, so cute. Yes, they are. Baby cories are so cute. They're just like mini cories, and cories are cute. There's a few in there somewhere. Yeah, it's rare that I see them, so they're probably not going to show up on camera, but there are some rather young cories in there of both flavours. Actually, there's one of the pepper cories right down there in that plant. Yeah, baby cories are cute. I still want to get some of the hogshead crocus. Oh, come on, camera, focus. I'm here. Why? It's not like I've gone up to the camera and... There we go. I look away, look back, and it refocuses. And there appears to be a bit of a delay today as well. Oh well, never mind. Probably HMS Craptop doing an update because it's not been switched on in 2 weeks. That reminds me, I've got to pay the electric bill. That was the other thing I actually had a bit of a problem with this week, or last couple of weeks. You know, when you order something online, say it's from somewhere you've not ordered from before, or it's a bit of a strange one. No, I've not been ordering hentai waifus from Japan or anything. And it takes you through to a verification thing from your card supplier, your bank, or building society, or whatever it is. Yeah, fair enough. It sends a text to the number, you put the code in, and everything goes through fine. Well, I don't have the landline that number that my bank account is attached to anymore. So it came up, and it was, oh, it wants to send a text to a phone that doesn't exist anymore. Right, we're going to have to go down to the building society and change it. So next day off, I trot down to the building society. I'd like to change my number, blah, blah, blah. A few details. There we go. So they put my mobile number in as my mobile number, and they deleted the home number. Cool, sorted. But it's probably not going to work instantly. It probably one of things that updates overnight. So next day I went to reorder the same thing, and there was no phone number whatsoever. Ooh, free Bowfront. Awesome. G'day, Marquis Mark. Long time no see. I hope you're doing well, sir. You have been missed. Yeah, so I then had to go back down to the building society. He's like, excuse me, can you change my number? Yeah, blah blah blah. Oh yeah, yeah, we got. Yeah, it's now coming up that I don't have a phone number, so it won't send a text anywhere. Oh, bring it up. They hadn't copied and pasted the mobile number into the home number. That all works now though, so thankfully, because the email address that is attached to it, I no longer have access to, or that was attached to it, I no longer have access to. The mobile that was attached to it isn't. I don't have access to. So yeah, I basically didn't have any online access to my banking. So I had to go down to the. Thankfully, my bank building society is literally the only one that still has high street branches everywhere. All the others have closed them all because they weren't making enough profit. You know what that's done? That's made a lot of people leave their old banks and go to the ones that still got. Somewhere on the high street you can go into and actually talk to someone. Hopefully it doesn't leak. I know they are notorious for that. They can be, yeah. I mean, it's basically a fluval flex, just 90 degree, or fluval flex is a bow front at 90 degrees, really, isn't it? Yeah. Even if it does leak, I'm sure a man of your caliber can fix it, and even if you can't fix it, find a use for it. It's still a big glass box that you can keep things in. I mean, it doesn't tend to get that cold in Texas, but you could use it as a mini greenhouse. Just stick a bit of plastic on the top and job done. There you go, monster terrarium. So I'm just imagining Tommy with a 75-gallon bow front terrarium. Wouldn't surprise me. Doing good now. A small dose of cancer. Good to see you kept your sense of humour, though, Mark. I'm glad of that. I'd say we all are. If there's anyone who's going to beat that, it's you. Because even cancer can't deal with that level of legendary curmudgeonliness. Curmudgeonliness? Is that a word? Curmudgeonliness? It must be. I just don't think I've ever heard it or read it before. Yes. Unky Mark, exactly. And not that weird uncle that used to touch you at family gatherings. No, you're not a butthole. You're not a puckered bud. You just say it like it is, and I appreciate that about people. Yeah. I'm not one for bothering with mind games and fannying about, trying to protect people's feelings. Just say it like it is, get it out, get it over and done with, and move on. If people don't like that, well, yeah, that's their tough. Despite the name, I am quite blunt at times, very blunt. So yeah, I appreciate that level of brutal, truthful honesty. Let's put it that way. Life comes with its own content warning. Yeah, well, if someone else gets upset, that's their problem, isn't it? It's not you that's upset, it's them. So it's their problem. They've either got to learn not to do the thing that made you upset them. That's fairly simple. or learn that they're getting upset for something completely ridiculously tiny and stupid, and they're behaving like a high school girl. And by that I mean English high school girl, which means between the ages of 13 and 16, and they find drama in everything. Yep, everyone's got one. They all stink. Quite tangy too. They all produce sweet corn and peanut kernels from time to time as well. Oh dear. Why do we eat things that we can't actually digest? Ah, thank you very much, Mark. 27 months? That's almost an entire 50-gram pouch of tobacco. Oh dear, is it bad I put it like that? Or it's the same price as a super red bristlenose in some of the shops around here. Just not in the shops I sell them to. Because if I went in there and they were paying me £3 and they're selling them for £25, I'm going, you're paying me more next time. The shop I generally deal with, store, shop, whatever you want to call it, got a pretty good deal worked out. They figure out what they're going to sell them for. They get a third, I get a third, taxman gets a third. Fair. And whoever buys the fish gets locally raised ones that will do well in their water. They're used to a bit of nitrate, they're used to a bit of crunchiness in the water. Used to half inch of their own poop on the bottom of the tank. About 18,000 snails, usually. Speaking of which, I appear to have got the snail problems under control in a couple of the tanks that I was having snail problems in. The ones that I've had the yo-yo loaches in, unsurprisingly. So I might be able to move the yo-yo loaches out in the not too distant future, which might mean then that we start getting baby quibs again. Because I'm pretty sure the yo-yos are eating crib eggs. And once the Amica splendens get a decent sized colony going, we might think about adding something else to that tank as well. If there's another female super red in there, I might put a female super red in with the lemon blue eye and see what comes out. That could be just boring black common bristlenose. It could be some really weird combination. A blue-eyed super red would be cool. I've not seen those anywhere, so yeah, blue-eyed super reds. That sounds a good idea to me. I think I might have to have a good hunt through there because there's still 20 or 30 of them in there, and they're fairly sizable now. So actually, most of the bristlenoses are getting quite big. I'm really going to have to sell some soon. Probably these washed out reds. Yeah, I mean, knowing my luck, they'll probably just come out brown with 3 eyes or something like that. But worth a go. What's the worst that can happen? I end up with a spawn of common bristlenoses. Not like I can't get rid of them. The other one I was tempted with was to take Bertie out of here and put her in there, which is a sunset. So she's basically the yellow colour, just with the albino eyes. But she's happy with Spotty, so we'll leave them be, I think. Plus, she's an absolute pig to catch. I've tried it many a times. Yeah, exactly. Simpson's fish. Now that'd be cool. Three-eyed catfish. Yeah. And Ancistrus teeth in. It's too many S's in a row. Ancistrus simpsonii. I'd definitely command a good price, I suppose. Yeah, I think it's time for a bit of a change around in some of the tanks, maybe. That'll take a lot of thinking about as to what to move where and what to move on and all that kind of jazz. We've still not had any baby shelly dwellies that I've seen lately, so I have either got rid of all the males or all the females, I think. And I'm hesitant to add more because territorial. Add outsiders, it could just be a bloodbath. What else has been going on? Work's been work. Mary's fine, I'm fine. Not been on any real bike rides lately. Howdy, Rainer. How you doing? Squire of Seahorses. Greeting. Any more thought about our idea of saltwater bristlenoses? Anyone who missed that conversation is now going, what? Or saltwater African cichlids was the other one, weren't it? And just think of all the algae that the bristlenoses could eat. Yeah, my laptop's definitely been updating itself because it's just moved some icons around at the bottom of the screen. Oh, pardon me. And again. And again. Oh, sea urchin. Evil things they are. Yes, I have stepped on one as a child. Thankfully, the UK ones aren't that vicious. They're not toxic or venomous or anything. They just hurt like a mother. Yeah. Jelly bean sandals do not protect you from sea urchin spines, apparently. So I found out the hard way. Yes, when you're paddling about in rock pools as a child, make sure you're careful of where you put your feet. Mexican long spined one. So one that would not only spine your foot, it'll go straight through and out the other side. Do you have to add cheese to the tank for that, or just kidney beans and curry? Well, not curry, chili. Sorry, bad jokes. And does it have a cool mustache? I'm just imagining like Danny Trejo, but with spikes. An illegal immigrant, yeah. Better put a wall around it. Make sure it don't start eating your cats and dogs. That's Haitians, isn't it? Likes jalapenos. Yeah, jalapenos are a good munching snack. And then you get the people who go, no, jalapenos are really hot. And then the people who actually like hot food are like, nah, trust me, jalapenos ain't. They're chilies you can just sit there and eat like popcorn. And you still get the seeds stuck in your teeth. Why can't we like evolve teeth with like flat tops on them so stuff doesn't get stuck? Or just one giant tooth that goes all the way around. That'd be good. And a flip top head like the old Oral-B adverts. Which I think is probably only me and Debs actually remember those adverts. It was basically because the Oral-B toothbrush was curved or something, and it meant you could get to your back teeth better. If you didn't have it, then you needed a flip top head. I've never had a problem getting to all my teeth with a standard straight toothbrush. What's the problem? Oh, definitely. Yeah, have an extra set come through. That would be awesome. Because that would put all of the professional sadists out of business overnight, wouldn't it? I'm not allowed to cut hot chilies indoors on a cutting board. Did you forget to wash it by any chance? And then someone else prepared something on the same cutting board and they don't like chili and they blew the top of their head off. That's my kind of trick, that is. But if there was someone I worked with who, yeah, let's just say that people's lunches kept going missing. It happens. I would bring in extremely hot and spicy food just to watch them suffer. Although I did learn my lesson about washing my hands after, and being sure not to scratch anywhere sensitive. After I chopped some, were they Scotch bonnets or Nagers? I think it was a combination of Scotch bonnets and Nagers. And then without thinking, I scratched my nethers. All was fine for a good few minutes, and then the heat started to build. There it goes. Granny mistook it with iPad. Oh no! Oh dear, poor Granny. Yeah, so I basically got Naga and Scotch bonnet juice somewhere very sensitive. Yeah, that wasn't a pleasant experience. I mean, I could have made a video on it if I'd have been doing YouTube at the time. It wouldn't have made it onto YouTube because it would have been very, very against TOS. But basically, it was okay. This is real hot. How do I? So cue me squatting over a towel with my airbrush. Airbrushing cold water over my bits. Ow. Yeah, I don't want to do that again. I learned that lesson. There aren't, no, thankfully. Yes, no one wants to see that. I mean, it would be hilarious to see, but no one would actually want to see it. Maybe I'll have to try an AI. Probably be able to generate a more believable image than that one of Donald Trump walking through floodwater. Oh, how anyone believed that, I don't know. Didn't even have to zoom in to see that the hands were all wrong. Yeah. Polydactyly basically only had 3 fingers. Oh, it might have been Tommy, I guess. That day she didn't complain about being cold. Well, no. The next day she probably complained again, though. That's one of the best things when you get someone who isn't used to hot and spicy food. You get them to try something and they eat it, and then like the heat finally dies away, and they're like, "Oh, thank God that's over. Oh, that was horrific. Oh, it was horrible." And you're like, "Wait till it comes out the other end. Huh? It'll be just as hot when it comes out the other side as well." Although I don't tend to get that, but it could just be that my butthole's desensitized. The capsaicin detecting nerves have been frazzled away. Probably fairly true, actually, thinking about it. The hot chilies on a cold day do you the world of good. Yeah, the second and third burn. Yeah, the second burn being when you burp. Actually, that's another one of my favourite. I say pranks. It's not really a prank, is it? Let's get rid of that. You all know I've got bad hair. Don't know why I even try and hide it. Yeah, because there is a colleague of mine who likes, for some reason, he likes to try and engage in farting and burping contests with me. Well, he farts or burps at me. He knows I have no sense of smell. Right? He knows it won't affect me at all, but he still does it, and then gets really upset when I reply. And mine do stink. So one of my favourites is spicy food and then burp and blow it at him. Preferably when he's speaking to a customer. You know, the ones where he burps silently and he just either stand around for a couple of seconds to try and catch a reaction, or you just walk away and beat yourself laughing. You know, we don't grow up. What was it I saw the other day? Was adults are just tall children with more responsibilities. It's pretty right. As I always say, never trust anyone who doesn't laugh at a good fart. Because they're going to be miserable and boring, and it's not going to be any fun to be around. See, here I am talking about chilies and buttholes and farting and burping, and we've got more people turn up. Is this the secret to beating the algorithm? Talk about things most people don't want to talk about. In which case, why haven't I got 7 million subscribers? That's what I do most of the time. You know me, I haven't got any boundaries. Well, I have. My boundaries are the ones that YouTube sets on me for what I can and can't say without getting trouble. But then, given some of the things I see on YouTube, I'm thinking, huh? How come they can say that and it's not a problem, but if I were to say it, I would get in trouble? Normal programming has been resumed. Exactly. Wouldn't be me if there weren't some toilet humour involved at some point, would it? You see? Now, I've stopped talking about that stuff and two people have already left. And while I probably can talk about toilet humour for 2 hours, it's probably not the best idea to do it every week. Because otherwise, we're going to end up with stories like the time Sharpe went to see the gastroenterologist and had an accident all over the gastroenterologist. It can't be the first time that's happened to him. If your job is sticking things up people's opinions with lots of lubrication who have had stomach issues and then withdrawing them and wondering what happens next, yeah, you really should be wearing an apron and be prepared for that kind of thing, I think. It's like what seems to be the problem, sir? You can't smell it. Reminds me of that old joke. The old lady goes to the doctor and says, Doctor, I had very, very bad wind lately. They don't smell, but they're really loud. The doctor goes, okay. Here, take these tablets and come back and see me in a week. She goes back in a week. Any difference? Oh, yes, doctor. I'm still having a lot of wind and it's really loud. And now they smell really bad. All right, that's your sense of smell sorted out then. I forget who told that one first, but yeah. As usual, if I've stolen somebody else's joke, I'm probably aware I've stolen it. Yeah, it's not intentional. Well, it is, but I'm using it for comic effect. I'm retelling the joke, and if I remember who told it, I will say. Like if I were to steal someone's content, I would credit them. Which is what causes a lot of squits these days with reaction channels. Yeah, well, doctors farting, burping. Yeah, so the gastroenterologist who's not expecting to get anything fired back at them, as it were, and is like a pretty female masseuse massaging male clients and then getting upset when they get excited. Ladies, it's not something we have any control over. If Mini-Me decides to stand to attention, you can't blame us. So we're semi-octoped. We have two brains. We've got the big one up here, and we've got a little one down there. And they don't necessarily communicate. This one isn't very good at telling that one what to do. That one kind of does what it wants. It's got its own personality, let's be honest. Yeah, it's a compliment for a job well done. I don't think anyone would see it that way, though. Although, given the massage videos I've seen, I mean, from the massage videos I've seen in the past, apparently everyone gets very excited, and then they have lots of fun. I'm not entirely sure if they're fiction or reality. Because I've never actually been for a massage. Because the last thing anyone wants is me laying there getting very relaxed and then because that's what's going to happen. Something's going to come out one end or the other. Plus, I'll have to comb my back hair first. Can't be going in looking all scruffy. That is the good thing about your hair going grey. It's not quite as visible. Not that I ever actually go topless anywhere. Nobody wants to, even the sun doesn't want to see that. If I take my shirt off, the sun goes away. Even the moon shuts its eyes. Too bright, too white, no. Such pastiness. Then you've got some people are tanning their buttholes. Why? Why are you worried if your butt crack and your butthole are tanned or not? Imagine getting sunburned down there. Oh, and then eating a curry. Oh, that doesn't bear thinking about, does it? Yeah, it's my fault it rains. Because now, if I fancy a bit of rain, I'll just take my t-shirt off. It's not rain; it's the sun trying to wash its eyes. Oh, yuck! Although I've got to be fair, it's not half as bad as it used to be because there's a lot less of it these days. Still got a fair chunk to lose, but we're getting there. And yes, I am wearing my best fish dad ever t-shirt. And even just doing, there we go, focus is back. I confirm that 8 weeks of radiation in that area is not much fun. I can imagine. But yeah. Is that one of those treatments that they only give to people of a certain age? It might have deleterious effects on counts. Yeah. Perhaps that's why I never got an x-ray of my hips. Because I know my hips are messed up. They've never been x-rayed. But then if my skeletal form is finally ride the carbon Maverick rims, I'm lighting up again. I was having that conversation with someone on Reddit the other day. I was like, what do you mean they've got an upper weight limit of, I think it was 80 kilo or something? I'm like, really? So they're not very good then? It weren't Maverick, I forget what the brand was. The oncologist has confirmed there will be no more kids in my future. Somehow, Mark, I get the feeling that wasn't something you were overly worried about. Your ability to reproduce. And if you wanted more children, you can adopt or foster. But I get the funny feeling you don't want any ankle biters running around. Yeah, sort of saying, oh, yeah, they're great. I'm like, what? They can only take that much weight. That's not very good. I'm like, my true bad. Well, yeah, you got to prove your sense of humour survived at least. I'm like, yeah, but like cheap aluminium wheels on my hybrid can take 150 kilo. So that means they're like twice as good as your expensive carbon wheels. No, 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 no. Yeah, because I can't ride your bike. Therefore, it's not up to the job it was designed for. Not all of us are built like whippets. Not all of us are a pair of legs with a stick and a head. And looking at some bike designs, I think that's what the manufacturers think we are. $85 for the cheaper, $100 for the good and the expensive ones, $150. And yet the only difference in them is the price, pretty much. It's, yeah, you might save a little bit more weight on the really expensive ones, but yeah, nobody's going to notice. Let's be honest. The scale might notice, but riding it, you won't tell the difference. It's like when people put a K&N air filter on their Citroen Saxo or Fiat Punto or whatever the latest teenage chavmobile is. Yeah, it's more powerful. It's added 2 horsepower. Yeah, it's got 2 more horsepower. You ain't going to notice. It might sound a bit louder on the intake, but it's not any. You're not going to notice it. Especially not with that massive, great sound system you've got in there. Pull that out and the car will go faster. Also, while you're at it, take that rear wing off. No, it gives you downforce. Dude, you go around corners at 30 mile an hour. Downforce is not a thing. Got mine used, €5,000 when it came out. Yeah. And you just scared the crap out of everyone who doesn't ride bikes. That a pair of wheels for a push bike can be €5,000 or pounds or dollars. Because let's be honest, all the manufacturers just treat it as one price. Unless it's completely different, then they might add another zero. Actually, I wonder what something like a Pinarello Dogma would cost in India. Not that you'd probably want to ride one. Oh yeah, the sticker does make all the difference. Definitely, yeah. Is it just me that, if I'd paid that much for a set of wheels for them to be light and then they were covered in stickers, I'd be like, no. If I've paid extra to have them lighter, I'm going to peel the stickers off because that's just excess weight. Unless the sticker is there as a balance, because the valve stem's one side, so the sticker will be the other, maybe. But again, let's be honest, the speed that you go on a push bike or bicycle or whatever you want to call it, you don't have to worry about the tires and wheels being perfectly balanced. They're never going to be, because the only way you're going to balance them is by adding weight. Yeah, they're stiff AF, yes. But then for the riding I do and the roads I ride on, stiff carbon wheels is probably a bad idea. I've got a suspension fork on my hybrid. It's only a basic cheapy Suntour one, but that gets a workout when I'm riding on road. And I wanted a little extra, so I added a suspension stem as well. The wheels get a massage. Yeah, it's ridiculous. It's what I think bike manufacturers should do. Me standing on my soapbox because I do that from time to time. Other than burp, I think they should put more effort into making more things more affordable than they do into making tiny incremental gains for the 0.1% of people who can afford them. Because you're going to make more money selling more profit, as it were, selling 100 or 1,000 bikes that are cheap than you are one or two that are expensive. You know, I get it, racing, you want to go quick, and if you've got the money, do what you like. I mean, I can't exactly bemoan people buying the top end gear when I used to race radio control cars at the top end. Because, yeah, but I do need to put more into the entry level. Why are entry level bikes spec'd the way they are? Why can't they put slightly better stuff on? Why can you still buy a bike with a quill stem, for crying out loud? And why are people so worried about aerodynamics? Yeah, I'm on 42s at the moment on mine, which is what? Yeah. Is it 1.4, 1.5, something around there? But yeah, I'm running posh tyres on a cheap bike with TPU tubes because the more pliable or supple carcass of the tyre makes things more comfortable to ride, less vibrations for a given pressure in the tyres, more grip, more traction, because I'm not just riding on tarmac all the time. I do end up going off-road sometimes. And it's nice to not be riding on basically road bike tyres when you're going on a trail that people are falling off mountain bikes on. It's a bit sketchy. Yeah, a bit sketchy on a bike that's designed to go on road and you're going off road. Yeah, only a Sharpe. But yeah, if they put more R&D into improving cheaper bikes or reducing the cost of the medium or lower end bikes, then more people would buy them. Yeah, I'm running Pirelli Cinturato all road. Are they all the all roads? Or am I downhill? Yeah, I mean, I do have to laugh when I see people and they've fallen off their bike because they've been doing ridiculous speeds on narrow slicks on a wet road, and they wonder why they fell off when they got to a corner. That was because you were going too fast for the conditions. No, I weren't. Well, you were because you slid out going around a corner. And if you don't know the road well enough to know that corner tightens up on you, then you should be going slower. You know? What? But my KOM, my zone 2 training, F the zone 2, F the KOM. You messed up your training and you didn't get the KOM because you fell off. You're now injured and in pain. You've probably damaged your bike and your posh lycra and your helmet because you fell off. Maybe try going slower around that corner next time. Learn the lessons. As I say, people like me, we teeth. We not only learned to ride a bike when we were young, but we learned, how to fall off. What was too fast for what, and what conditions you'd ride in, and all that kind of stuff. How to control the bike in various conditions, because you were younger, you were slower. When you fell off, you bounced rather than just snapped. Last time I got slicks on the e-bike, funny while it was sunny. Yeah, I bet as soon as it started getting wet and nasty, you were like, I'm going to take them off and put something with a bit of tread on, just so I've got a bit of grip and don't kill myself. Especially if you're dealing with steep descents with cliffs. Yeah. Generally, it seems to be most people who crash on bikes, if it's not involving a car, it's because they've been going too fast. That's why I got the hookworms. Yeah. Got a bit of tread, a bit of grip. Shed some of the water out from under the tyre. The size of a bike's tyre contact patch is minute. When you think the weight of the rider and the bike and blah blah blah. I mean, let's just go with me on my bike, with, let's say, my bag for work, or I'm going out for a day ride or something. Probably looking around about 100 kilo. And you've got that running through a contact patch that's probably less than, I'll try to figure out the size, but contact patch front and rear, like that long and about that wide. Right. Oh yeah, definitely. And some of my RC car tyres were at the time as well. The 9-inch jumbo Kongs were ridiculously expensive. Yes, I've got an RC monster truck, 10th scale with 9-inch, or what's that in English? Or in metric? 2 9, 18. Yeah, about 25 centimetre tyres on it. There's not much room between the front and rear tyres, let's put it that way. It will drive directly up a staircase. But, you know, I was taking the mickey with that particular build. Howdy, Jeff. How you doing? Good to see you. How's the old Empire of Dirt? Have you found your crown of thorns yet? That's it. That's the solution. There we go. You need a marine tank with a crown of thorns starfish to complete the joke there. Teared. Tired. Tired, yes. Yeah, I know that feeling. So I've not been sleeping well lately, but I did manage to shock one of my colleagues the other day because they were complaining about being tired, and I was like, oh, thank you very much, Mark. Most appreciated. Again, mostly people who aren't here, but Dave D, who? Ricky, or Delhi, and Dennis. Yeah. Thank you very much. Where was I? Before I was shocked by generosity. Colleague, yes, saying that they were tired and they hadn't slept well. Well, how much sleep did you get last night? Oh, I only got 7 hours. I'm like, dude, I had 3. What? Why are you so awake and caffeine? You want to try it sometime? Want to try the Ball Taco E Hybrid Motocross? 29-inch front end, 16. Yeah, it'll be quite an upgrade, slightly different. I'm assuming you're meaning 26-inch, not 16, because that would be 29ers do better over rough surfaces than smaller wheels. Yeah. Oh, it is 16. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely handle better with a 29 on the front. Might even be able to find tyres that actually work that aren't BMX tyres. Is a 16-inch wheel on a BMX? Something like that, I think. been many, many years since I rode a BMX. Because I like to sit on the saddle, and BMXs aren't designed to be sat on. The saddle is there for something to sit on when you want to rest. It's not to sit on and ride with. Although it is kind of comical when you see the young lads riding their BMX through town, because they're cool and edgy. They didn't want a mountain bike, they wanted a BMX. They could be different. You see them cycling along and up like that. Their knees are coming right up under their chin every time they turn the pedals. It's like they literally got their arms like that, so there's enough room to get their knees in. Or they got their arms and they got their knees stuck right out to the side. Easy to get it up right after a corner. Yeah, there is that. But yeah. You got the centripetal force. It wants to be upright. Doesn't want to be at an angle. So it naturally tries to pull itself back upright. Also, less likely to go flying when you hit a small twig or pebble or something. Yeah, it's the same thing with a car, isn't it? Bigger diameter wheel and tyre is more pliable and forgiving and more comfortable to drive. Which is why motorbikes have a larger front wheel than a back wheel. It's not because it looks cool, it's because it works. A larger diameter and narrower, which means you've got the same kind of contact patch, but yeah. Physics that are probably best not tried to be described in a Sunday evening live stream by someone who's tired. More like motocross handling, less fork travel. Yeah. So then that's it. It's like my forks have got, what, 50 mil of travel, which is plenty enough for me and what I do, because I don't jump and lump and bump about too much. But again, they're just the standard spring in there, and they're rather stiff and they're not progressive at all. So you sit on it, the forks compress a little bit, and they basically stay there until you hit a big bump. Which is why I wanted the suspension stem as well, so that the handlebars will go up and down. At some point I'll get around to doing a video on that. Got one of those nose hairs that gets in the way again. I have to get the scissors out, have a chop. Oh, we're having an argument in the Shelly tank. They're spitting little bits of rock and sand at each other. Ups and down, 16 on front, rear 14. Plenty of plushness of travel. Travel being how much the suspension will move when you hit bumps at most. 16 centimeters is basically jumping off of a cliff and it might bottom out if it's progressive, which it should be. There's only the really cheap ones that aren't. Although, again, that's something they could easily improve by fitting them with progressive springs. So the spring gets stiffer the more you compress it. Hell, I used to have those on radio control flipping touring cars on road. So the suspension is softer at first, but the more you lean into a corner hard, the stiffer the suspension gets. Which meant I could make it nice and pliable, so I could lump and bump over the curbs on the tracks or the white lines, which is basically like driving over a wall when you think about the scales, without worrying about things bouncing and doing weird stuff. And then when I got the corners that were the fast corners, I still had the stiffness to not go flippy flip and roll over. Well, there was one track we went to that was notoriously high grip, and people had lots of problems with rolling there. So I just whacked in a lot of camber onto the car so the wheels were like that. Looked like a BMW, and took these springs out and just locked the suspension solid. That worked quite well. Didn't roll anymore, but it wasn't very good over the bumps. But again, that was RC car racing. I went my own way. I didn't follow what everyone else did. I was like, I wonder if that'll work. Give it a go. Oh, it does. And people look at you like, why are you doing that? Oh. Like the time I ran a four-wheel drive car with 3 one-way bearings in it. Basically meant when you hit the throttle, it was four-wheel drive. When you let off the throttle, it was no-wheel drive. The only downside was it had no brakes, because everything just rolled freely, but it was a very fast track, so I didn't need to brake on it. It was just an experiment, and it kind of worked. I wouldn't recommend it. But yeah. I think it's been done a few times, but not by many people. Is it bad I haven't raced RC cars for like 20 odd years and people still ask me advice about car setups? Actually, the airplane electric motors aren't as fast. You really don't want to know how fast some of the electric motors I've used in RC cars over the years are. Especially now with the brushless motors. I think the one I'm running, I'm in the two-wheel drive buggy that I've got at the moment that I would run. I'm running a 7.5 turn equivalent, and in the four-wheel drive, I'm running 3.5. Ridiculously powerful and fast, basically undrivable. But that's me. How fast can we make this thing go without it exploding? It explodes. Right, that was too much. Dial it back a bit. Yeah. But then that was the thing. I worked in a model shop. I was fully sponsored, so I could. And outside the model shop, we had a racetrack, so I could try all the weird stuff, and I did. Some of it worked, some of it didn't. The carbon, yeah, yeah. I did one that was definite kamikaze. Um, I basically fitted a receiver and a steering servo and a little battery pack to power it. And then I strapped half a dozen firework rockets, the ones that go up in the air and explode. I strapped half a dozen of them to the top of it with masking tape or gaffer tape or something. And we set it off down the Market Straight, which was about half a mile long. And it started, it was flying along real well. I was like steering away, and I'm like, they're going to explode at some point. Oh, it had enough power. That's why I strapped 6 to it. But yeah, it got a couple of 100 yards down the Market Straight, and all 6 of the rockets exploded. Yeah, there wasn't a lot left. Let's just say there were bits of carbon fiber flying everywhere. That's another one I tried. Carbon fiber brakes on a radio controlled car. Very effective when it's dry. When it rains, very, very ineffective. I mean, they were that powerful that, I mean, the brakes were powerful and the servo, the thing I had actuating the brakes was very powerful as well. And yeah, it was stripping the hex hubs out of the wheels. Yeah, high-tech shrapnel, exactly. You've got to try these things though, haven't you? Like when we were mucking around with you hit the curb in second gear with your buggy. Oh, I've done worse than that. Is that my eyes, or were you out of focus again? Now we're out of focus. Come on, camera, keep up. Let's turn around again and see if that works. No. So why have we got a focal length of that? Let's get out of shot then. Let things resettle, refocus. Are you refocusing? There we go. Yeah, the autofocus is drunk today, I think. Yeah, curved in second gear with the buggy. Yeah, I've hit things very fast. There was one race meeting I went to. I think, was it Southend? It was national. It might have been Southend. Where it was a long straight into a banked corner, which tightened into a hairpin. Great fun corners to drive if you got it right. On this occasion, I was having to overtake someone, so I was offline, and there wasn't as much grip offline as there was online, and it ended up hitting a concrete fence post at about 50 miles an hour. Just obliterated the entire car. I was like, oh well, time to get the spare car out of the bag. Yes, that's what you do when you're racing at that kind of level, is you have a complete spare car. Yeah, the entire front end was completely smashed. The chassis had snapped. It was pretty much just the back third of the car was okay. You got to, because when you're running something, you know, the kind of slight ding that you might have in a road car, and then just bend some of the just bend the body panels back straight, pop out the dents and carry on. You have that in a full-on race car at the same speed, it does a lot more damage. It's the same thing with radio control cars. They're made out of the same things as proper racing cars. Carbon fiber, aluminium, titanium, graphite. It's very strong, stiff and lightweight in the direction it's meant to be strong, stiff and lightweight. You try bending it in the wrong direction, it explodes. Like wheels, and like carbon wheels on bikes. Put too much weight on them, they go ping, crunch. Jeff's got one more stands with stain on it, one more resembling stain. Or make better use of the sun and no rain and cut more wood. The common common sense is cut the wood while you've got the opportunity, but then the I want my fish tanks up and running part of me is get it stained and get another tank running. that's where I go. I'll probably cut enough wood for another stand or two or whatever you need, and then do some staining. That'd be my plan. Although this time of the day now in the UK it's been dark an hour and a half, so I'm not going to be doing anything outside. Yes, yeah, exactly, Deb. Enjoy the sunshine. Yeah, if it's bright and sunny, you'd probably find me indoors, out sun. I'm more likely to go out and cut the wood in the rain. Because I don't like the heat and the sun. As you can tell by my wonderful tan. No sun. Although, given the bike rides I've done this year, I did actually get a bit of a tan. So I do still tan. It's just I try and avoid it. Any plastic vest. I can. In my crawler, the only plastic bits that are left are the bumper mounts and body mounts. The rest of it is all aftermarket upgrade. If you're familiar with the original Traxxas Emax, that's my crawler. That's running on the 9-inch jumbo Kongs, 4 NiCad packs, 2 14-volt motors, and weighs 13.5 kilos. It doesn't so much as crawl as just destroy anything that gets in its path. So did that yesterday. Raining cutting wood isn't fun. I mean, it depends. If you're using an electric saw, then I wouldn't do it, just for safety reasons. I mean, me with any kind of saw is a bad idea. I've got a bow saw. There aren't many people who've got a random bow saw just sitting beside them, is there? That's for when I get to some of the larger bits I've got to clear out of the garden. There is a holly tree out there that I need to get rid of. But the other one I've got for the smaller bits, and this really isn't safe for me to own. Right? This is downright dangerous for me to own. A drywall jab saw. Let's put it in front of the t-shirt. Probably not. It's probably not safe for me to be handling it right now. This is why I'm keeping the guard on the blade and the piece of cardboard covers that goes over it. Want to make the third axle for the rear and use it as a snowplow. Somewhere I do have the snowplow attachment for the Emax, and I have used it before to plow snow. Problem is, it doesn't work with the wheels and tires that are on it, so I'd have to find the old wheels, the original size wheels and tires, because otherwise the snowplow sits about that far off the ground. You can't adjust it any lower. But yeah, get the wood cut, and then if the weather does turn poopy, you can do the rest indoors and all good. I mean, I didn't have to worry about third axles or anything, because that thing's so bloody big and heavy. I actually, as I live on a little cul-de-sac-y bit, brick weave, it's all quite pretty, apparently. Well, it was, and now it's started to sun sink and things like that, but it doesn't bother me. But I have snow plowed the whole thing now. basically RC snowplowed everyone's cars out of the snow so they could get out in the morning and go to work. And I was like, what the heck has happened here? And then it snowed again and I got spotted. And I was like, oh. Oh, okay. Yeah, why not? I've got the snowplow, might as well use it. I think Kyosho still make theirs. They actually made a proper snowplow. Is it the Blizzard? I think so. Worth looking at if you can find one. Kyosho Blizzard, a tracked RC snowplow. Very cool. Convert broken lawn robot as an RC mower. That probably wouldn't be too tricky to do. Steering would be the only problem. I don't know how they steer. Is it skid steering where it just one wheel over the other, one wheel turns faster than the other, so it turns? Ow. That can make things more tricky. I mean, if it's got four wheels and the front wheels steer, then that's easy enough to do. You can soon fudge something together that works. Or the easiest option is just get someone else to do it. Tank steering with the ECU. Yeah, that worked. Yeah. I'm trying to think who does the. I think Tamiya. Well, I know Tamiya do a tank controller because they make RC tanks. And they're very cool. I just refused to buy one because, yeah, they're cool for like 5 minutes and then they get boring. Like the Tamiya, they do the big rigs, the trucks, lorries, and they had a cool piston. Yeah, Tamiya does have some rather cool kits. So I had the King Hauler, which is the semi-truck, articulated lorry, whichever you want to call it. And I had the big box trailer on the back. And that was fun for about 5 or 10 minutes. The Tamiya ones don't, Mark, but you can get ones that do have an airsoft turret. So they fire plastic BBs. I wouldn't like to think how well they would take to firing an actual black powder round, though. If you could figure that out, or just a bullet, maybe you could get away with a 2.2 rimfire, but then you'd have to factor in a reloading mechanism and all that kind of stuff. There are some with 2.2s. Wouldn't surprise me. I mean, I suppose you could fit a standard 2.2 magazine in it and then have the extractor launch it out the side of the turret or through the hatch or something, or just drop it into the hull of the tank, like they did in real life back in the day. It does strike me as kind of unsafe. I mean, okay, you're in a battle with a tank, I get it. But you've got very hot, very large pieces of brass rolling around inside the turret. It's probably not a good idea. You're in a tank in a war zone. Slipping on a bit of brass or having it roll into your foot is probably not the biggest concern you've got at the time. It's taking out the other tank before you get taken out. I'd rather twist an ankle and live than get obliterated by a 120 mil round. Back in the day, they T-loaded the shells. Yeah, reloaded. Yeah, they did. I think they still do to an extent. I think it was only the Russians that ended up with something that used bag charges. But that's because they're Russians. and they went, "Oh, we need a bigger gun to take out these new heavy Tiger 2s and King Tigers or whatever you want to call them." Oh, okay, yeah. Oh, Jagdpanther, right? Yeah, okay. Someone goes, "I've got an idea. What about if we took those spare 6-inch cruiser guns? You know the ones that are designed to be used on warships. Yeah. What if we somehow finagled one of those into a tank or a tank destroyer?" Hmm. Hmm. Oh, we've already got one that's got a 6-inch gun on it. That's basically a howitzer. So if we uprated the mounting, and yeah, exactly. So yeah, they ended up with the BL-10 gun, which was mounted on the SU-152, I believe. Have I got one kicking about close at hand? No, because I think Dragon were the only people that made a model of it, and it was god awful. Yeah, 150. Well, they were 152 mil, but everyone just calls it a 6-inch. For once, it's men actually claiming something is 6 inches, and it's actually bigger. Uh, but yeah, a naval gun in a tank or an armored vehicle on land is just ridiculous. Because we're all used to seeing tanks, tank guns, artillery firing, and it's all very big and impressive, and big loud bangs and clouds of smoke and explosions. You see naval guns firing, oh, it's a whole different kettle of fish. It's a whole different level of oh. I mean, you just had. There are pictures on the internet of from D-Day when the Royal Navy was bombarding the German positions, and I believe it was HMS Warspite. It probably was. Warspite hit everything else that was going, and it was a Panzer IV that got hit by a 15-inch high explosive shell. Yeah, Mark 1 male had 6-pounders. Yeah, but yeah. So yeah, there's pictures of, I think it's a Panzer IV that got hit by Warspite, or a near miss, obliterated it. But then you've got something basically the weight of a small car flying through the air packed with explosives at supersonic speeds. And then you see what happens when you drop a tall boy on something or a grand slam. And oh, but yeah, it's just you take a handgun or a rifle or something like that, and you get a really big one. It's like oh yeah. Then you go up to emplaced weaponry. It's like ooh, and you get to artillery. It's like ooh, tank guns. You're like oh my god, and then you get to naval artillery. The levels of ridiculous go off the charts. The fact that they had to create maps of where it was and wasn't safe to be on deck when the main guns fired, because it didn't have to hit you, just the shockwave from it firing would kill you. Yeah, Barnes Wallace was your prototypical English eccentric inventor, the perfect man for the situation. Like Percy Hobart was for the tanks. Hobo Hobart, as he was known. Yeah, he doesn't get anywhere near the recognition he deserves. Because all the German tank doctrine, that was his. They stole it. And the British military, being the British military at the time, were very, very... But you can't be up here with us. You can't be an officer. You don't have a title, basically. And yeah, the funnies. Yeah, so they kept trying to kick him out of the army, and in the end, it was Winston Churchill who had to step in and go, "Oi, he knows what he's doing. You don't. You still want to use horses. Let him get on with it." Who was it? Is it the Fat Electrician did a video on Hobo? If you've not seen it, the Fat Electrician, very good channel. If you've got a sense of humour as well. Yeah, Barnes Wallace. So invent the bouncing bomb, the Grand Slam, the tall boy, all the other stuff he invented. The Pandangulum, Pantangula, I can't remember. It's Pan something or other. It was basically a rocket-powered rolling mine that you could send at the enemy. A lot of airplane and rocket inventions based on German engineering. They are all stolen. Mandy, my darling, how the devil are you? Have Sunday free and can visit. I am always better for seeing you. Thank you, my dear Mandy. Thanks for use a few at Omaha. Yeah, that's the reason Omaha Beach was such a bloodbath, is because they didn't have Hobo Hobart's funnies. They didn't have tanks that floated. They didn't have tanks that laid a road in front of them so they didn't get stuck. They didn't have flail tanks. They didn't have the Churchill crocodile, which, as the war progressed, the Churchill crocodile, the Germans just had to see one and they surrendered. A tank-sized flamethrower with a range of 200 yards. That's, yeah, it's a terrifying proposition, especially if you're in a bunker or you can't run away. I do like to think that is the reason that flamethrowers got made illegal in war. It's a war crime to use a flamethrower. Yeah, exactly. Something. And the Churchill was very heavily armoured, so it's not like you're going to take it out with anti-tank, man-portable anti-tank stuff. And you're not going to want to get close enough to try either. So, yeah, it was like, crocodile, I surrender. Wave the white flag and just hope it doesn't get set light to. Yes. The inventiveness, the ways to solve problems. The bridge laying tank, that was another one of the funnies. Even just the fascine, a bundle of sticks you drop into a ditch so you can drive across it. That was one of, maybe not Hobart's, but his cadre, let's put it that way. The Desert Rats, the reason they were so good, they were trained by Percy Hobart. I ban landmines, but what do I know? Well, they are banned. Problem is that many of them have been used in war zones over the decades that there's still millions of them everywhere. I mean, sea mines, they still, World War II mines still wash up on the beaches around here every so often. And they're still live. They have to carry out controlled demolitions. Yet they're still used by people who are breaking the law. Yeah, no one has told the Russians. Well, since when have the Russians ever, well, since when has Vladimir Putin ever worried about what is legal? And there we go. We're going to get a bot attack because I've said his name. And I'm probably going to get assassinated. If I start losing my hair really fast and getting thin, you know what happened. If we suddenly get a whole load of Russian bot profiles turn up, that'll be hilarious. Polonium, polonium. Yeah, plutonium breakfast. Well, that's all right. I don't eat breakfast, so that'd be fine. Just if anyone talks to a Russian, just tell them that I really love fruit. I'll be safe then. Fruit and alternative milk. I absolutely love oat milk, almond milk, and soy milk. Nothing good happens when the leader of land is more than 10 years in power. Well, he basically did what a certain orange person wants to do, which is install himself. He was like, I'm in charge now. You can you can vote for prime ministers, but I'm going to remain president, and I have overall say in what happens, and you can't do anything about it. He basically wrote it into law that he's going to be in charge until he dies, and no one assassinated him yet. Thing is, you've got to know that any time he leaves the Kremlin or whatever building he's in, you've got to believe that there is either an SAS or Navy SEAL or whatever. There's someone got a scope on him. They're just waiting to be told, yes, take the shot. Yeah, I mean, that's why most democratic countries, it's 4 or 5 year term for the leader before you have another election. I hope we had the Tories in charge for 17 years, and look where we are. I mean, okay, we had several different prime ministers over that time, most of whom we didn't vote for. And I'm not saying things are any better under the Labour government, because I've not noticed a change. But no, at least there's a different bunch of crooks running the country now. Allegedly. I've learned from watching Simon Whistler. You make any kind of controversial statement like that, you say the word allegedly after it, and you're safe. Although they, to be fair, they'd have to prove that they aren't crooks. So you're not crooks, prove it. You think I'm slandering you? It's now on you. It's your burden of proof to prove that I have slandered you. Uh, Good luck with that. What is that floating about in there? Have you guys been chewing the algae off the rocks again? Is that it? Well, it looks like. It won't be a foreign power that gets rid of Putin. My money's on an oligarch. And the things, I think he's done away with most of the oligarchs now as well, hasn't he? was they had money, all thanks to Gorbachev. There we go, back in focus. The Gorbachev's plan that he had for redistributing wealth didn't really work that well, because a lot of people were so poor that they sold their bonds or whatever to someone else, and then the rich people bought a lot, and then they owned a lot, and then they got richer, and the poor got poorer, and yeah, how it always works. Money goes to money. And you see people go, well, if you give a rich man £1,000 or dollars, then he'll multiply it and make it more. Whereas if you give a poor man 1,000, then he will spend it. Yeah, that's because the poor person has to spend it to survive. The rich person doesn't. They can invest it. The poor person invests that money in food, housing, and clothing, and paying bills. That's what happens there. It's the same as putting a tariff on a foreign country. Anything you import to us will be subject to a tariff. Okay. What's the tariff? 20%? Okay, we'll just put the prices up 25% then. You need the stuff, so it's not the foreign country that ends up paying for it. It's the people that are in your country that end up paying for it. Could someone please explain that to the Orange Oaf? I don't think he quite gets that theory. Yeah, it's economics. You can't expect him to understand that. He can barely string a sentence together. He's worse than I am. I just forget what I was talking about. I don't do it mid-sentence. I do it because something else comes in and I start talking about that, and then I forget where I was. Which is why I'm not a stand-up comedian. Seriously, what's wrong with this autofocus tonight? I move slightly and it just completely goes out of focus. Come on. It's like a 70s softcore porn filter. There we go. We're nearly over, so hopefully it'll go back to sleep in a bit. Yeah. World leaders. Who'd have them? There was all the celebrating about killing the leader of Hezbollah. But you do realise that by the time you finish celebrating, there will be another one. Not being easily sidetracked, it's the weave. What, my hair? My hair is not a weave. It's completely natural and falling out rapidly. Uh-oh, maybe I've already been hit with the polonium. Wouldn't surprise me. Might explain a few things. If I'm radioactive, maybe I should get a Geiger counter. Actually, that'd probably be a bad idea. It'd be like me getting a blood pressure monitor. But, oh, crap. It's why I've not been to the doctors to go and do my blood pressure, because I know if I do, it's going to be high. And then they're going to want to see me and do tests and want to give me drugs to bring it down and tell me to change my lifestyle. And I'm like, I'd rather die early and happy. I don't want to die old and miserable. I've been miserable plenty in my life. I don't want to be there anymore. Yeah. Almost hope Trump wins just as soon as McEnroe wins when the US economy collapses again. Yeah. I mean, he said he won't stand again if he loses. So you kind of hope that he loses. Well, we all hope he loses anyway. Everyone not in the US does. Yeah. It would be kind of amusing to see him win if it weren't for the fact that so many of my friends are Americans and I don't want to see them screwed over any more than they already are. No, I'd like to see the US get free healthcare and social housing and all the things that basically every other democratic country has. You know, decent minimum wage, mandatory paid holiday and sick leave and education and all the other good things. Well, yeah, in an ideal world, communism would work, but it's not an ideal world because of greed. Simple human greed means that communism will never work. It's just dialing back the capitalism a bit, putting some restraints on things so you don't just screw over 99% of the population so that the 1% can get richer and get tax cuts because they buried their former wife in the back of their golf club, so it now qualifies as a cemetery. Really? But anyway, enough political ranting before I do get demonetized or upset everyone. Well, I mean, I upset most people most of the time anyway. Thank you to everyone for taking the time to be here and converse with me and have hopefully a bit of a laugh. Have a great week. Have fun. Stay safe. I might pop on during the week and do a stream from the modeling cave. Peace out. Rock on. Bye bye. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Sunday shop do 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 do. Ooh.